Uh, well, I've got other questions for you about writing and the writing process, but I know at this point in the interview, agents, publicists, everybody gets involved if we don't talk at least a little bit about Never After, the 13th Fairy, which is available December 1st. So please tell us about the book and give us kind of an overview.
Sure. So Never After, the 13th Fairy, is coming out December 1st. It is a fairy tale retelling, and it was inspired by my discovery that the story of Sleeping Beauty doesn't end with the prince waking up Sleeping Beauty with a kiss and, everybody living happily ever after. In the original fairy tale, there's an ogre mother-in-law, there's bloodshed, there's death, there's all these horrible things that actually happen to Sleeping Beauty after she marries the prince, which I thought was so fascinating, that it doesn't even have this happily ever after. And I thought, oh my God, I want to do something with this. And then it was also inspired by an idea I'd had. It's so funny, and I always say, oh, I'll just write like a short story about it, but I probably won't. So I'm just going to put this out in the ether. So I wanted to write a YA book, which was inspired by Kit Harington and Rose Leslie's relationship, and they played Jon Snow and Ygritte on Game of Thrones. So in Game of Thrones, Ygritte dies, and it's so sad, they're in love and she dies. And then I saw a photo of the actors who played the characters, and they were getting married in Us Weekly. And I thought, oh my God, Jon Snow and Ygritte are together. And I thought, in this alternate world, these characters that we loved had, their happily ever after. And I thought, there has to be something in there where I can do something with that, about reality and fantasy, kind of, blurring in that way. And, it kind of went through a couple of iterations, and it didn't quite work out as a YA. But I always had that idea. And so when I had this idea for Sleeping Beauty, I said, what if I do something, with a fan? What if somebody had read this book series and was such a big fan of these books, this fictional book called the Never After series, and then discovers that she, is in the fantasy world. She goes into fantasy world, and she knows even more than the people who live there because she's an expert on the books. Like imagine a Potterhead, waking up at Hogwarts. They know everything, So I thought, that would be such a fun kind of premise to play with. And so in the books, all the fairy tales that we know are wrong, and there's obviously some kind of strange conspiracy, that's keeping us from knowing it, which is just hinted at in the first book. The first book is a lot of kind of fun action and adventure, and has some, kind of fun characters that Descendants fans will love. So.
How many books do you have planned at present, and when can we look forward to next?
They tend to buy 2 at a time, so they have bought 2, but they've said that they want to do more. This is it's a little bit more like Descendants, which is a little bit more open-ended. So we'll see. They're really fun to write, so I hope I get to write them for a while.
Well, I mean, if you're doing fairy tales, there's always going to be something new you could explore, right?
Exactly. I think my friend Sarah Milanowski, who writes Whatever After, just signed her contract for number 18 and 19 in the series. And I said, oh my God, your series is now an adult. It can vote.
That's got to be a bittersweet day, both joy at the accomplishment and also, oh my Lord, where'd the time go?
Yes.